was close. How about this clash between Michael and Ruzenka Weinhardt in an Opel Kadett and Nico Higgs and Menno Havelaar in a Toyota Conquest? At the overnight halt, just 9 seconds separated Havok and Judd and Damso and Hodgson at the top of the leaderboard. A terrific showing from the younger Damso and Aris in fourth, a great Class A7 battle, and Group N leaders Morer and Duval were into the top 10. An early morning start on day 2, Table Mountain as majestic as ever, and while some crews were in cheerful mood at the Parc Fermé, there was last-minute adjustments for others. As far as tactics were concerned, Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz had a simple recipe.
Well, the plan for today is to chase, chase and chase. We're going to catch up the time. We've got a lot of people behind us also chasing us. We're looking for a great day of racing today, and we're definitely going to go for him. We're going to have to take a lot of time. There are a lot of stages, a lot of long stages today, and we feel at the time there's enough distance in the stages to be able to catch him, and we're definitely going to give him a good dice.
On the menu, 9 special stages in the Swartland before heading back to Cape Town for a final fling at Killarney. Also on the menu, the appetizing thought of a classic final day fight to the finish between South Africa's top crews and VW factory pair Jan Havok and Doug Judd, who were well aware of the pressure situation.
Yeah, we'll have to go into maximum attack and keep the pressure on the rest of the guys and see that we can have an absolutely clean run. There's really no other option at this stage.
On the corresponding event last year, Havok and Judd ended up just 4 seconds behind Serge Damso and Vito Bonafide, but hopes of a similar battle royal were soon dashed. The Damso-Hodgson Castrol Toyota Conquest was cruising through the first special stage of the day with the right front wheel flapping around. A suspension control arm had broken, and that was to cost the team around 2 minutes and any realistic hopes of victory. The 2 minutes lost on special stage 5 also dropped Damso and Hodgson behind Paolo Piazzamuso and Richard Leake in the Sasol Motorcraft Ford Escort, which started the day 48 seconds behind the factory Castrol Toyota Conquest. The early drama also allowed team total pair Lawrence and Paisley to close in.
Our strategy is to stay to try and get third, back from Paolo. Yanni and Serge are in their own race basically, and I'm going to just try and get our third place. That is our strategy for the year, and well, the same for this event as well.
An interesting scenario was unfolding, and behind the leaders there was also plenty of action. True to their word, Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz were on an early morning charge, and behind them, attention was focused on the intriguing Class A7 battle, where a few noses were put out of joint. Hannes Grobler and Nick Hatton started the day with a 1-second lead over Tony Ball and Marty Olivier in the Bulwer Park VW Golf, and only 10 seconds behind them were reigning class champions Chad van der Walt and Cindy Harding.
It's a bit embarrassing whether he was N3 or A7 to let that car be ahead of me. I mean, I've got a decent motor car and I should be ahead of him, and that's all there is to it. So I'm not worrying. I'm not letting that sort of stuff worry me. Just get on with the job. We've got a whole day ahead of us.
Ball and Olivier also didn't get the sort of start to the day they would have liked, and in losing 13 seconds to Chad van der Walt and Cindy Harding dropped back to third in the Class A7 fight. While the Class A7 drama was unfolding, Toyota service crew were battling against time to get the Damso-Hodgson car back into fighting trim.
It happened on a piece of straight road, but I think the damage took already from the testing we did a couple of days ago, and that's where that knock actually took from. I remember that time, that's the time we really knocked something.
Toyota service crew were not the only technicians hard at work. They were also running repairs on the Piazzamuso Leake Ford Escort, lying second overall, but these were not all that serious. And the hard luck focus then shifted back to Danair Toyota Conquest pair Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz. After moving ahead of overnight Class A6 leaders Jean-Pierre Damso and Pierre Aris on the previous special stage, the Danair car picked up a puncture on stage 6, and Fecken and Lukowitz lost 90 seconds to their arch rivals. Matters were also warming up in the Group N category, where local favourites Diffie Morer and Donny Duval were starting to come under attack from all directions. The Morer-Duval Toyota Corolla led the Group N category and Class N2 overnight, but were being chased by KwaZulu-Natal pair Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen, who had a tight hold on Class N3 in the Team Total Nissan Sentra. While Blackman and Klaassen were steaming along, Pretoria crew Barry Grobler and Mike Burrows were having a frustrating time of it. They won Class A7 on the Stanek Tour Natal, but this time around were beset by niggly problems and had lost touch with Grobler and company. A terrific battle had also broken out between Class N2 contenders Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper, with only seconds now separating the Team Total Toyota Corolla and the privately entered Corolla in the hands of Quibus Roos and Neil Faree. The puncture on stage 6 was a severe setback for Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz, but they were better off than Group N leaders Divy Moreira and Donny de Waal. Matters came to an abrupt halt for them when they rolled on special stage 7 after hitting a notorious rock that has claimed many a victim over the years. Jan Habak and Doug Judd number among the rock's victims from previous years, but this time around they managed to avoid the obstacle and were cruising along at the front of the field with a comfortable lead. It meant they could control the pace, conserve the car, and let everyone else do the chasing. Paolo Piazzamuso and Richard Leake were among those doing that chasing, but the pair had other problems to think about. Their second place was coming under attack from Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson, with the Castrol Toyota crew closing in on the Sasol Ford Escort. While Damso Sr. was on a charge, problems for Damso Jr. After hitting a cattle grid, the Team Total Toyota Conquest was perched on a sandbank, and the harassed crew lost around 20 minutes, and out of the window went hopes of another Class A6 win and top 10 finish. Back into the Class A6 lead went Fecken and Lukowitz in a battle that underlined the ups and downs of national championship rallying. Barry Hrobler and Mike Burrows were gradually making up time in the Team Total VW Golf, and the demise of Moreira and de Waal put Cubas Rus and Neil Ferree into the lead in Class N2 in the privately entered Toyota Corolla.
The car is going very, very well. I think we're leading the class now. Dean just had a flat wheel, and I think Diffie rolled. So yeah, I think we're in front of the class now.
The talented Rus and Ferree were making their national debut in Class N2, and it was an impressive performance, with the pair in striking distance of overall Group N and Class N3 leaders Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen. Soldiering along in midfield were newcomer Henny Lowe in his first national outing, and Brian Hoskins, well on their way to a top 20 finish. And Dirk Badenhorst and Robert Oxenham, who were fourth in Class A6 in an aging VW Golf. Badenhorst and Oxenham cruised past the Pierre Huss and Thilo van Westenhagen Golf of slightly more recent vintage, which had fallen by the wayside, while young Richard Berm and Dani Rousseau were third in Class N2. Berm and Rousseau were on their way to winning the Top Car Challenge and embroiled in a terrific battle with the trot. Those wanting to make up time, the 30-kilometre long Special Stage 9 was a golden opportunity to do just that. Rally leaders Jan Habak and Doug Judd dropped 39 seconds to Serge Damso and Guy Hodgson in the Castrol Toyota, but a little ill feeling was starting to creep into proceedings. The Dunair Toyota Conquest of Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz was now firmly ensconced at the front of Class A6, with the pair now trying to catch the Total Bridgestone Nissan Sentra of Class A7 leaders Hannes Hrobler and Nick Hadden. The cheerful Hrobler and Hadden were now in control of Class A7, with reigning champions Chart van der Walt and Cindy Harding running second, and gradually easing clear of Tony Ball and Marty Olivier. Apart from leading Class N3, Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen now had the overall lead in the Group N category, but the Team Total Nissan pair were under a little pressure from Cubas Rus and Neil Ferree, who were still within striking distance of the KwaZulu-Natal pair. Rus and Ferree were still edging away from Team Total pair Dean Saunders and Graham Hooper in Class N2. Big crowds at all the special stages were enjoying plenty of spectacular rallying, from little personal duels going on throughout the field. There were any number of these intriguing battles going on, and they kept the enthusiasts entertained. Rally leaders Jan Habak and Doug Judd still had matters firmly under control at the front of the field, but on a slightly less cheerful note, the 1997 national champions were not at all happy with the factory VW crew, construed as a little gamesmanship that was creeping into proceedings.
Yeah, you know, that's a fairly comfortable lead, but we've now noticed on two stages where we watch the Toyota come through the flying finish, and we get our stopwatch time, and then it doesn't correspond with the times that they've got on their record. So at this stage we're not happy with what's going on, and I think it needs to be investigated.
Unhappiness in the VW camp, but Hannes Hrobler was still smiling.
Yeah, it's still a long way. I mean, we have to get to the end to finish in this place, but we're glad, and we're going to try and keep it there and try and win the class.
Special Stage 11 was the last of the long competition sections on the Stanek Cape Rally, with rain, fade or a late mechanical problem the only issues that stood between Habak and Judd and victory. Damso and Hodgson took a sizable chunk of time out of the Habak-Judd lead, but the 2 minutes lost at the start of the day, along with a 30-second lateness penalty, were too much of a handicap for the Castrol Toyota crew. Etienne Lawrence and Robert Paisley had not had the easiest of passages, but the team total crew were in a safe 4th place. Tony Ball and Marty Olivier had gradually dropped down to 8th overall and 3rd in Class A7. The Bulwer Park VW crew were now nearly a minute behind Chad van der Velde and Cindy Harding, with the Reeks VW Golf crew starting to show the consistency that has seen them dominate the class in recent seasons. Running repairs for Group N leaders Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen, who picked up a puncture on stage 11, with Class A6 leaders Fecken and Lukowitz still trying to catch Krobler and Hatton.
Yeah, unfortunately JP made a mistake, so he went off. But we're still having quite a ding-dong with Hannes. We were trying to catch him on the previous stage. We took 42 seconds off him, but I think he got the message, and on this stage I only managed to take 1 off him.
The penultimate stage in the streets of Malmesbury, with Havoc and Judd now strolling to victory.
90 left. And T right. 90 left.
The Piazza Muso Leek Sasol Ford Escort had dropped back to 3rd place, with the pair overtaken by the Damso Hodgson Castrol Toyota Conquest, with a gap of around 2 minutes between the two cars. The big danger for crews on the street spectator special stages is contact with pavements and curbs, but for the crowds it's exciting and spectacular stuff. Lurking in the crowd that turned out in Malmesbury was a rally legend and his protege, multiple champions Sarel van der Merwe and Enzo Kuhn, both looking a little pensive and a little envious as they watched the other crews enjoying themselves. The final fling back at the Killarney racetrack, with Hannes Krobler and Nick Hatton putting the finishing touches to a Class A7 win that will go down in rally folklore. In a dramatic finish in the Group N category, a late 20-second penalty for clocking in early at a time control saw Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen finish just 12 seconds behind a delighted Cobus Rus and Neil Ferree, with Class N1 honours going to the tiny team total Opel Corsa of Alan Worms and Brendan Noonan. Late problems for Adrian Karth and Rikus Ferrier, but the good news was that they managed to last out the distance. A convincing enough victory margin for Jan Habak and Douglas Judd, and a 1-all score in wins between VW and Toyota after 2 rounds of the Stanek Rally Championship. A good result for Piazza Muso and Leek, a fairy tale ending for Group N winners Rus and Ferree, but after losing out by just 4 seconds to Serge Damso and Vito Bonafide in 1998, it was a satisfying victory for Habak and Judd.
I think we were fairly in control of what was happening. You know, at the end of the event, all you need is 1 second, and I think a minute is more than enough.
There was a huge cheer from the crowd for popular Hannes Krobler and hometown man Nick Hatton, with a remarkable performance, giving them the win in Class A7. On the podium in Class A6, Jürgen Fecken and Dave Lukowitz, and a big celebration for Group N and Class N2 winners Cobus Rus and Neil Ferree. Cliff Blackman and Johan Klaassen took Class N3 honours, just missing out on the overall win in the Group N category, and a happy moment for Class N1 victors Alan Worms and Brendan Noonan. Remember to keep in